Hey everyone, today we are going to be going over the Module 5 practice test. As with all practice tests, you do not need to watch the entire video if you only need help with certain questions. I'm going to do this in two videos, so this is going to be the front side and then there'll be a separate video from the back side so that it doesn't get too long. So here we go. Number 1 says to simplify the quantity 7y plus 4 minus the quantity of y minus 2. Remember we talked about the minus sign in between being like a plus negative 1. So this is going to be 7y plus 4 plus negative 1 times y plus negative 2. Now with that negative 1, we're going to distribute. So I've got 7y plus 4 plus negative 1 times y plus negative 1 times negative 2. The first set of information does not really need the parentheses, so I'm actually going to get rid of those. So I've got 7y plus 4 plus negative 1y plus 2. Negative 1 times positive y is going to be negative 1, and a negative times a negative is going to be a positive 2. Once I've done my distributive property, I'm going to combine like terms. So I've got a 7y and a negative 1y. That's going to be a 6y. And then I've got a 4 plus 2. That's going to be plus 6. So my answer here, fully simplified, is 6y plus 6. For number 2, I'm going to factor the expression using the greatest common factor. So the first thing I need to do is find the greatest common factor of 42 and 70. I'm going to use a multiplication chart to do this. So when I look at my multiplication chart, the largest factor that these two numbers have in common is 14. So I'm going to rewrite this expression with 14 and one of the factors, and then figure out what is multiplied by 14 to get the other one. So 42 is 14 times 3x, and 70 is 14 times 5y. And now I'm going to write this expression with the 14 outside of one set of parentheses. So it's going to be 14 times 3x plus 5y. So this is going to be my final answer here. Okay, this one was like the ones that we did in class where I said you're starting with the answer and you're trying to get back to the question. Number 3, we're just going to use the distributive property. So I'm going to draw my arrows. I have negative 4 times negative 5 plus negative 4 times x. A negative times a negative is going to be a positive 20. And then negative 4 times x is going to be negative 4x. For number 4, I'm also going to distribute. So I've got 2/3 times 9x plus 2/3 times 12y. For this one, I can use some cross canceling. So the 9 and the 3 are going to cancel, and the 12 and the 3 are going to cancel. So 2 times 3 is 6x, and 2 times 4 is 8y. Number 5 says Mateo and Haley both collect coins. Mateo has 8 more coins in her collection than Haley. Write and simplify an expression that represents the total number of coins in both collections. Well, if H represents Haley's coins and H plus 8 represents Mateo's, then their total is represented by Haley plus Mateo, and then I'm going to combine like terms. So I've got an H and an H. That's going to be 2H plus 8. Your variable can be anything that you want it to be. It's completely up to you. Number 6 says a triangle has side lengths of 4x minus 10 units, 2x plus 6 units, and 5x units. Write and simplify an expression that represents the perimeter. Remember that perimeter means to add all the sides. Okay, so if I have to add all of the sides together, I'm going to do 4x minus 10 plus 2x plus 6 plus 5x. I'm going to rewrite that subtraction as addition, so 4x plus negative 10 plus 2x plus 6 plus 5x. And now I'm going to combine my like terms. So 4x, 2x, and 5x. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 5 more is 11. And then negative 10 plus 6. Negative 10 plus 6 is positive 4. In 7 through 16, we are just simplifying in any way that we can. So distributed property, combining like terms, both. Okay, it just depends on the question. So this first one, number 7, I'm going to rewrite this as plus a negative. So 10c plus negative 3 times 2 plus negative c. And now I'm going to distribute. So I'm going to show my arrows for the distributive property. So 10c plus negative 3 times 2 plus negative 3 times negative c. So I've got 10c plus negative 6 plus 3c after I multiply. And then I do have some like terms here. So 10c plus 3c is going to be 13c plus negative 6. Number 8 is the distributive property, only the number that you are distributing is at the other end. So I'm going to distribute this way. So I'm going to have negative 5 times 3 plus negative 5 times b. So I get negative 15 plus negative 5b. Number 9, you actually don't need the parentheses because there's nothing being distributed. So I'm going to write this as 6x plus 9 plus negative x plus negative 6. I have 6x and negative x. 6x plus negative 1x is 5x. And then 9 plus negative 6 is going to be 3, so plus 3. In number 10, just the distributive property here. So I've got negative 5 times negative x plus negative 5 times negative 7. Again, we treat that minus 7 like a negative. So a negative times a negative is going to be a positive 5x. A negative times a negative is going to be a positive 35. In number 11, we're just combining like terms. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 15x plus 2y plus 13x plus negative 10y. I've got a negative 15x and a 13x. That's going to be negative 2x. And then I've got a 2y plus a negative 10y. That's going to be a negative 8y. Number 12, I've got 1g, 1g, and 1g. That's 3g. Number 13, I'm going to distribute my 5. So 3 plus 5 times x plus 5 times 4 is going to be 3 plus 5x plus 20. In this one, I only have constants that are like terms. So 20 plus 3. So I've got 5x plus 23. In number 14, I'm just going to rewrite it all as addition. So plus negative 3x plus negative 2y plus negative 10x. I'm going to do x's first because the alphabet says x comes first. So I've got negative 3 plus negative 10. That's going to be negative 13x. And then I've got negative 4 and negative 2. That's going to be a negative 6y. Number 15. Getting ahead of myself. Number 15 says negative 5x plus 3 plus negative 1 times 2x plus negative 4. So I'm going to have negative 5x plus 3 plus negative 1 times 2x plus negative 1 times negative 4. So I've got negative 5x plus 3 plus negative 2x plus 4. I have negative 5x and negative 2x that go together. That's going to be negative 7x. And then I've got positive 3 and positive 4. That's going to be positive 7. And then in number 16, I have 3x plus 5 plus negative 2 times negative 6x plus negative 2 times 3. So 3x plus 5 plus 12x plus negative 6. Then I'm going to combine my like terms. So 3x plus 12x is going to be 15x. And then 5 and negative 6 is going to be negative 1. Number 17 says the side lengths of a triangle are given by the expression 7x plus 5, 9x minus 3, and 9x minus 4. Write and simplify an expression for the perimeter. So again, we're going to add all the sides. And then it says if x equals 2, what is the perimeter in inches? So we're actually going to write and simplify the expression, and then we are going to evaluate it for a value. So I'm going to add all the sides together. I'm going to do 7x plus 5 plus 9x plus negative 3 plus 9x plus negative 4. Now I'm going to combine all my like terms. So 7x, 9x, and 9x. 7 plus 9 is 16, plus 9 is 25x. And then 5 plus negative 3 plus negative 4. 5 plus negative 3 is going to be 2. And 2 plus negative 4 is going to be negative 2. So it's going to be plus negative 2. So there's the first part of my answer. Now I'm actually going to evaluate this for when x equals 2. So I'm going to change the x into a 2 and use order of operations. So 25 times 2 is 50. 50 plus negative 2 is 48 inches. In number 18, it says the expression 6x plus 20 represents the perimeter of the rectangle. So if I've got a rectangle, then I know the entire outside is 6x plus 20. And it says I've got 1/2 x plus 4 as the width. If I add both of those together, I get 1x plus 8, because a half plus a half is 1 whole. Okay. So my two widths together are going to be x plus 8. So then I'm going to do 6x plus 20 minus x plus 8, because I'm going to subtract the widths to figure out what is left. So 6x plus 20 plus negative 1 times x plus 8. And I can distribute. So 6x plus 20 plus negative 1 times x plus negative 1 times 8. So I get 6x plus 20 plus negative 1x plus negative 8. When I combine like terms, I'm left with 5x plus 12. So this represents both lengths together. To split that up into two sides, I'm going to divide each part of it by 2. So 5 divided by 2 is going to be 2.5 x, and then 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I'm dividing this by 2. Because there's 2 lengths in a rectangle, so I need both of them. Okay, number 19 says, you and your 5 friends each spend X number of hours volunteering at the beach. So I'm going to do 6x. So you and your 5 friends are the 6 of you. So we spent 6 times the number of hours. And then it says 3 of the friends spent an additional 2 hours cleaning the bathroom and 1 hour sweeping sand. So it says, write a simplified expression that represents the total time you and your friends have spent volunteering at the beach. So here is the 6 hours that all of us are spending. Here's the extra 2 and the extra 1 that those 3 other people are spending. So I'm going to have 6x plus 6 plus 3. I'm going to combine my like terms right here. And I have 6x plus 9. Okay, this is the end of the front side. Again, I don't want the video to get too long, so I'm going to make one for the front and one for the back. So this is the end of the front side. If you need help with anything on the back, watch the second part of this video.